Greetings. I'm Reverend Jennifer Cormier, proud creator of this podcast. In my recent private work, I've been helping successful women to release the pressure they put on themselves so they can feel at peace and have way more fun in their lives. And this is exactly what we do in the Grace Collective, a virtual spiritual community of soulful, big hearted creatives who value authentic connection and joy. At the Grace Collective, we practice keeping our hearts open and our sense of humor in the face of life's inevitable challenges. Just like you, we've each moved through various life losses and we've risen up through the ashes. And we've risen up through the ashes. Greetings. I'm Reverend Jennifer Cormier, ceremonial artist and proud creator of this podcast. In my recent private work, I've been helping successful women release the pressure they put on themselves so they can feel at peace and have way more fun in their lives. This is exactly what we do at the Grace Collective, a virtual spiritual community of soulful, big hearted creatives who value authentic connection and joy. At the Grace Collective, we practice keeping our hearts open and our sense of humor in the face of life's inevitable challenges. Just like you, we've each moved through various life losses and we've risen up through the ashes. We're leaders, artists, healers, aunties, mothers, grandmothers who gather to heal, grow, and create together. We honor our bodies, the earth, and all beings as sacred, knowing that nature, friendship, and laughter are all good medicine for the soul. We meet at the intersection of spirituality, embodiment, and creativity as part of our activism and our legacy. So I welcome you if you are a soulful woman looking for more community, creativity, laughter, and fun. I invite you to join the Grace Collective. Visit www.gracecollective.us and check out the show notes for more details. I look forward to connecting with you there. Until then, I send warmth and gratitude from my heart to yours. Welcome. And I'm so thrilled to finally have on our podcast the beautiful and fabulous Dee Manuel Cloud. Thank you so much, Dee, for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate the opportunity to connect with your audience. And of course, it's always a great time to spend time with you. And thank you for calling me fabulous.
You are. I love that hat. It's amazing. So I just want to share a little bit about you with our audience. I think some folks will really resonate with you and your story and your message. And it felt really important to make sure we brought you on the podcast this season um, because your message of resilience is something that my spirit really needs right now. And I know that if that makes me cry, then someone else is feeling the need to
Absolutely.
to not only to carry on, because I think we have this like we got to push through, we got to carry on, we got to get through it, that sort of endurance, enduring resilience. But then there's a deeper way that you have learned to carry on that is really honoring your heart and your soul and like the truth of who you are that I think is so needed for us to hear, that it's not just this barreling through. It's a really
Yeah,
deep listening.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I love what you shared, Jennifer, about not just pushing through, right? And I love just like even the title of this podcast, Grief and Grace, right? And one of the things that I believe in is doing everything with grace. And it's funny because my group program is called Gracefully Protecting Self, right? My GPS program.
Yeah.
But to your point, for me, I had to figure out a way to continue to go on, continue to be resilient, and to give myself grace in the process, right? Because otherwise I was stressing myself out. And I'm sure somebody else can relate to that, right? You're stressed. And so I'm a two-time breast cancer survivor. So then not only do I stress about the problem, I stress about the fact that I'm stressed because I'm worried about my health.
Yeah, right. I mean, how many people can relate to that? It's just I've been going through a stressful moment and it's like it's the stress on top of the stress. It's the story on top of the stress that gets it's like a snowball effect.
Absolutely. And so I love what you said. It's a story about the stress. And so at the end of the day, ultimately, it's not even the thing that has us stressed out. The problem, we'll just call it the problem, right? And for as a matter of fact, I'm gonna just play on the court. Let's just say um the problem is a financial problem, right? And it's not really the idea of the financial problem that you're afraid of. It's the issues that the financial problem creates. And even then, it's not the issues that the financial problem creates. It is what we tell ourselves
Mhm.
about the issues that the financial problems create. So ultimately, it's the stories we tell ourselves.
Yeah. And the story we tell ourselves about ourselves around what that means about ourself,
Exactly.
which sounds like a little, like riddle, but really it's then we make meaning about how we are not deserving or, you know, about all these reasons why we can't give ourselves forgiveness or compassion because
Or
of
grace.
or grace or grace. And I love that that word is a word that we both resonate so deeply with.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of women I know because I know that we both work mostly with women, and
Mhm.
there are a lot of women in my world who, you know, they've grown up with so many um, protector sort of inner parts and so many like you know the inner management is so pressurized,
Yes.
and you know our self um and I want to say like analysis, you know, and self there's another word other than judgment I'm looking for, but it's like that um um
Well, for me personally, I call it my self inventory,
yes,
right?
yeah, the inventory, and that can like of course we have to take inventory, but sometimes that can be such a harsh, we can be a harsh judge on ourselves.
No, absolutely. We're most of us are our worst critics, right? Unless you're a narcissist, that's a whole different topic, right?
Right.
Most most of us are our own worst critic, and as a matter of fact, it's one of the things that I tell my kids. It's the same thing that I tell my clients. Be kind to yourself. Speak to yourself like you're someone you love. There are enough people out there waiting to tear you down who love doing the job for you. So you don't need to do it for them. You just focus on loving yourself, building yourself up, and treating yourself with love, kindness, compassion, and grace. And when I say speak to yourself like you're someone you love, Like, think about how you would talk to your child, and especially like for me, even I'm even more um careful with my words with my puppy dog than anybody, right?
Yeah.
So I try to talk to myself the way I talk to Sasha.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a great thing to live up to. I had a teacher once say to me, it's like the angels see us like we see our pets.
Yeah.
Like they can do nothing wrong, My cat leapt over my face and I got stitches under my eye and almost lost my vision. And I still love her to pieces. It's like you can put me in the hospital and I'm still like, "Oh, you didn't mean it. It's okay. I love you." So if we could all take that as a an invitation. Like, what if we took the thing that we love most, the pet, for those of us that have furry creatures that we love,
Yeah,
can we can we take that voice and have that be the voice that talks to ourselves?
exactly.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful invitation. I love that you offer that to your kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because listen, they say the voice that you hear in your head is your mom's, and they don't need to hear my voice because I'm a no nonsense mom. I'm gonna get it together, get your butt in gear. I mean, kind of mom. Like, let's go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, um, you know, I never really read a bio for you when we started out, and we might cut and splice. Caitlin might cut and splice this to the beginning, so I just want to go ahead now that I just remembered it. I'll just go ahead and do that now, and then we can come back
Okay.
around. Okay, so I want to introduce to you D. Manuel Cloud. Did I say your last name right? I mean your middle
Yep.
Manuel. Okay.
Yep.
I want to introduce to everyone Dee Manuel Cloud. She's a two-time breast cancer survivor who knows firsthand, yeah, celebrating that, who knows firsthand how dangerous the weight of stress can be. So this episode is for anyone out there who is feeling any kind of stress, which I feel like is likely you if you're listening to this. Um, After her second diagnosis, her nurse said to her, "Dee, you need to reduce the stress in your life." And this shifted everything for her. She began researching the impact of stress on the body and discovered how it disrupts the endocrine system, weakening immunity and healing. As one sentence. Okay, I'll try that again. Um, she discovered how it disrupts the endocrine system that weakens immunity and healing. Too often, we focus only on the external causes of illness while ignoring the chronic stress. And Black women in the United States carry stress, and this is dangerously normalized. Now, a breast cancer recovery strategist and mentor, Dee empowers survivors to reclaim their voices, to share their stories, and to, sorry, my gosh, my eyes. It's so funny. Thanks, Caitlin, for editing this. Hashtag. Sorry. She empowers survivors to reclaim their voices, share their stories, and transform pain into advocacy, awareness, and even income. She's especially passionate about amplifying Black women's stories, knowing that by speaking out, we can save lives and close the staggering gap that makes Black women 40% more likely to die from breast cancer, which is a staggering statistic. Through her Gracefully Protecting Self GPS initiative, Dee also helps women reduce stress, set boundaries, and protect their peace. Because protecting peace is not selfish, it is survival. Yeah. Inspired by organizations like Sisters Network, Inc., she believes that sisterhood and storytelling are powerful medicine. Dee is proof that life after cancer isn't just about survival, it is about transformation. So,
Yes.
Yes, I just want to thank you for that transformative work that you've done on yourself, first and foremost, that has affected your family, and that is what you bring to your clients and all of the folks that you support. So, we're just, I just have really resonated with you because our values and where we, the kind of space we hold in the world for folks is very similar. And do you want to share a little bit about um, that moment? You say two-time breast cancer survivor. Do you want to
Mhm.
share a little bit about that story of diagnosis and second diagnosis? Like any way that you want to share that?
Absolutely. So, um, like most people, I follow, well, I won't say most people, most women, like most women, I follow the familiar recipe, right? Um, get an education, get a good job, get married, buy a house, have some kids, live happily ever after. Except I looked up and I was 35 years old and I was anything but happy. I was carrying a lot of stress. And what's worse is I felt like it was normal, right? I just felt like that amount of stress was just what came with life because life is hard, right? So that I remember I had just eaten breakfast and I felt a sharp pain at the top left portion of my chest. And when I reached up to the side of the pain, I felt a lump. So I didn't waste any time. I immediately called my doctor. He got me in, and ultimately, I was diagnosed with stage 2 endocrine carcinoma. And um, I followed again the familiar recipe, right? I just took the advice of the doctors. I went through a lumpectomy, chemotherapy, radiation, and for me, it was just like, okay, here's this speed bump in the road. Can y'all hurry up so I can get back to my life? Even if the life was not a good one for me, right? Um, and at age 38, it came back, right? And so this time it was my nurse who got said to me that I needed to reduce the stress in my life. And it was then that I realized that, well, first of all, it was the first time I connected stress to my illness, right? No one had ever said that to me before. And so I did. I started researching um, and learn what changes I could make because, again, I didn't make any changes the first time. And so the message there for someone is very seldomly, and I'm only going to say very seldomly because I don't believe in blanket statements, but um, it's not likely that you will heal in the same environment that broke you, right? There's going to have to be some sort of shift in something, right? And so I got serious about removing my stress. I got serious about moving my body to also manage my stress. I finally got the courage to ask for a divorce in a marriage that I was really unhappy in. And that was hard for me because I was married to a really good guy, right? Like people would often tell us how we were the perfect couple. And so I was afraid of disappointing people. I didn't want to disappoint my mom. I didn't want to disappoint his mom. I didn't want to disrupt my children's lives. So there was just a lot of pressure there, right? And then ultimately, I got the courage to acknowledge that I am a card carrying member of the LGBTQ community, right? And acknowledge my sexuality, which again was something that I was terrified to do because my mama, may she rest in peace, was a card carrying, Bible toting, scripture quoting Christian, right? Like, and I already knew where she stood on the topic of same sex relationships and marriages. And so I was really afraid that that would cause a rift in our already very fragile relationship. So I silenced myself and sat on all that pain, all that discomfort, all that stress for the sake of not disappointing other people. You're muted.
And isn't that, I mean, that is so universal. We all have different stories around that, but something within us that is our truth, but we don't want to share it because of that person that we love, that they're going to potentially be disappointed or whatever the fear is. So,
It's usually a fear.
mhm,
Just like you said, there's a fear there, right?
mhm,
But I think that also we do others a disservice when we're not our authentic selves, right? One, when we're not our authentic selves, we don't have authentic relationships. Like you can't have authentic relationships if you're not bringing your authentic self to the relationship,
yeah.
right? And so what we're afraid of losing are those connections, those relationships, right? But if those are not authentic, what you're really afraid of losing is the familiarity,
Mm,
right? And um, my mentor shared this story during one of my coaching sessions about the Golden Buddha. And without going on this long rant about the Golden Buddha, just it's a story, a true story about a Buddha that they cut the people covered in clay to keep it safe from people who would otherwise want to steal it.
mhm,
And so when the people raided this town, they saw this big clay Buddha, thought it was just clay. Over time, everybody forgot that the Buddha was solid gold, right? And one day they tried to move it, chipped it, realized it had gold in it, right? But I said all of that to say the clay layers that were covering the Buddha are the same or like the layers that we use to protect ourselves, right? The not being my authentic self, the dishonesty, the people pleasing, all of those are layers that are protecting the fragile part of me that I am not yet emotionally resilient enough to put on display,
mhm.
right? However, we can't keep the layers on and protect what's inside without also locking in the good best parts of us. Is that landing?
Yeah, I think that's landing. Yeah, I think that's landing for me. And the piece that I'm really get it's like we're not afraid of losing the connection. It's more that it's familiar because
It's familiar,
the the way we're
absolutely.
connecting, if we're not authentic in ourselves, then that connection is not authentic. So it's okay for that to fall away, but it's just we like to cling to what's familiar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you lose that connection for someone once you take off your layers and you display your authentic self, if it wasn't an authentic connection to begin with, what are you really losing?
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's like my mentor said that the familiar pinch will always feel better than the theoretic hug because that theoretic hug is in the future.
Right.
You don't really know what that's going to feel like, but you know this familiar pinch. So you're like, hey, I'm going to just stay here. This is familiar. You've heard women say, it's better to stay with the devil I know. Well, how
Yeah.
we just don't stay with the devil at all?
Right. Right.
Right? Why don't we set ourselves free to go get the hug, right? And we're staying in place for the familiar pinch. And we don't even like the familiar pinch. We don't even like the devil. We stopped liking him a long time ago, right? But he is familiar. Never mind, he doesn't meet our needs emotionally. Never mind, he doesn't support us financially. Never mind, we're no longer intimate anymore. Never mind, we have nothing in common. This is familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the other side, so if I'm listening to this and going, okay, I know there's some places in my life maybe I'm just sticking around because it's what's always been or it's familiar and I'm afraid of something different. Would you just share the arc of transformation in your story of going, from a divorce, I mean, from a marriage that you had the courage to move through divorce into where you are now. How did you get from that familiar pinch to the authentic hug? Will you share that?
That's such a beautiful question. So essentially, there are three ingredients for transformation, right? One of my favorite poets, Anais Nin, says that one day she has this favorite quote that said, one day the risk to bloom became more painful than the risk to stay in the cocoon, right? And so, or the risk, however, I think I messed that
It's
up. And
the opposite way.
nonetheless,
Like the risk to stay small was more
yeah,
painful
stay
than
small.
than to
Exactly.
bloom. Yeah.
So there are three ingredients to transformation, to growth, to change, however you want, whatever you want to call it, right? But the first is irritation, right? And I already had that because I'm unhappy in this marriage. I'm unhappy in this situation. I'm unhappy not living as my authentic self. And that is my first irritation. My second irritation is cancer. So now I'm literally fighting for my life, right?
Yeah.
But there's first got to be irritation, and then there has to be declaration, right? And there's two ways you can make a declaration: I will or I will not, right? And so I will um, is I will not, I'm sorry, is always a stronger declaration than I will, because again, I will is theoretic. We're talking about the future versus I will not means there's something you're about to change right then and there, right?
Mm.
And so for me, that declaration is I will not live the rest of my life being unhappy when I don't even know how much longer I have. Now that I face this thing twice, right?
Mm.
I will not continue in a marriage that's not authentic and show my children that they don't deserve an authentic, reciprocal love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I will not continue to shrink and play it small for the rest of my days. When again, I don't know how long that is. So that was my declaration. And then surrendered action, right? And so the surrendered action for me in that space was I had to forgive myself, right? I had to forgive myself for hurting my former husband. I had to forgive myself for believing that I had purposely hurt my kids, right? I had to forgive myself for abandoning myself for all those years in the name of keeping everybody else happy but myself. Um, and so once you go through your irritation, your declaration, and your surrendered action, only then can you have the change and transformation that you desire. But the first thing is just acknowledging that there is an irritation because we cannot change anything we're not willing to confront.
So if you are a woman who on the outside is doing okay, you're going through the motions, you're looking pretty functional, but inside there's a quiet heaviness around the state of our world right now. And you might be feeling exhausted from holding it all together. Life might be feeling pretty serious right now. You've been supporting others, you've been managing logistics, you've been keeping things afloat, but you are needing some nourishment yourself. And you might be missing that spark of joy right now in your life. So I want to offer you a special gift. Even if this podcast isn't actively running, I'm going to keep some spots available on my calendar weekly for a special joy jumpstart call. This is for you if life is feeling like it's gotten too serious. You might feel stalled in your work or your creative projects. And the state of the world might feel like it's stolen some of your playful spirit. So it's time to get that back because your family, your activism, your work, It needs all of you. So, in 15 minutes, we won't solve the woes of the world, but here's what I can offer you: a short personalized practice so you can come home to your heart and your body, so you can release a layer of mental tension, get a fresh perspective, and I will be giving you one personalized mini ritual so that you can align your system with joy again. And so you can walk away feeling a little bit lighter. So if this sounds good to you, I invite you to check out the show notes and find my calendar link there for your Joy Jumpstart call. And I look forward to meeting you as one of our beloved listeners there. Yeah. 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 And it's just, it's seeing it for what it is. And that's hard and it's uncomfortable,
It is.
but it's the beginning. It's the
It
beginning of
is
the
the
transformation.
beginning.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like childbirth,
Hmm.
right? Like I've gone through it twice, and one of them, girl, they didn't even give me an epidural. Said I got to the hospital too late. So the second one was all natural,
Hmm.
right? And it was awful. Same with breast cancer. It was awful going through the chemotherapy, the hair loss, the radiation, the burns on your skin, the scars that you have to live with for the rest of your life, the nausea, the fatigue, the money that's gone that you'll never get back. Well, you can get money back, but the time that's gone that you can't get back because you were sick and couldn't book the family vacation, or wherever. However, what I'm always sharing with people is we can't love the lesson and hate the gift. If you can reframe that experience, and in my instance, cancer, if I can reframe that experience and not only just look at what was horrible about it, but ask myself not why this happened, but God, universe, whatever you call it, that's greater or higher or bigger than you, right? What are you trying to teach me, right? And so, what I can say is that for me, breast cancer taught me authenticity. It taught me vulnerability. It taught me how to be brave, right? And so, when you can reframe it, it's like, yeah, this it's like putting a nice frame on an ugly photo, right? Like, yes, this photo is hideous, but look at the frame that I bought for it, right? Like it's still beautiful because it's draped in this beautiful frame.
It's fine art
Um,
now.
it's fine art now, right? So if you can reframe your experiences and ask the universe, ask God, ask the creator, what are you trying to teach me?
Yeah.
First of all, God always answers. Like, I've been waiting on you to ask. So now I can deliver, right? Because that's how lessons come to us, Jennifer. They're not going to just show up like Amazon Prime in 24 hours, right? It's like a scavenger hunt. You have to go look for your lesson.
Yeah. 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 We got to live into that answer. It doesn't just pop
Exactly.
down like a text message. We gotta
Exactly.
live in it.
Exactly.
But I think we want, I think there's this idea of we want to grow, we want to expand, we want to be a better person. We want to, all of those growth mindset things, but it's 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 a challenge. Each one of those growth moments.
Yeah.
And on the other side, we get that wisdom, we get that what it
Exactly.
that's the
Exactly. And so it really, one of the things that Oprah said is that when she finds herself facing a new challenge, that she says she asks God as quickly as she can, okay, what are you trying to teach me? She said, because she knows that the quicker she can get the lesson, the quicker she can get out of the fight, right?
yeah.
Because to your point, it is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. The idea is to be so committed to what's on the other side of the discomfort that you're willing to go through the discomfort. We are so committed to bringing this little baby in the world that we are willing to go through the discomfort. I was so committed to living that I was willing to go through the discomfort of the cancer treatment, right? Because I valued what was on the other side.
Yeah.
And so, whatever it is we're facing in our lives, we just have to be willing to go through the fire and value what's on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, the archetypal energy that's been coming to me this year really is the phoenix. You know,
Mm.
it's that you're gonna go all the way down into a pile of ashes and then rise up again, and then a pile of ashes and rise up again. And I think if we can let go of this idea that, you know, life is just this one beautiful hill that we're always going up and always, you know, look, you know, it's not. It's all around. It's messy. And this is gonna be over and over again, you know. Oprah
Yeah,
didn't just ask one time, "Hey God, what are you trying to teach me?" She learned her one lesson and there it was. It's like,
well, that is a very valid point, right? I love what you said about if we could just get over the notion that life is like this hill that we're climbing and it just gets better and better and better, right? Like think of a kid with a pen giving an artist a pen and all the amazing work he's going to do with it, right? That's how we want life to be. But when you give a pen to a toddler, you're going to get some squigglies.
right.
And that's life, right? Life is full of squigglies, right? And once we learn that everything that happens to us is really happening for us, and I believe that it's happening to elevate us to our next level because we've reached our capacity here, right? But in order to continue to elevate, in order to continue to vibrate high so that you can attract those amazing things to you in life that you want, we have to continue to expand our capacity, right? And when you're willing to, when you know now, like by way of example, I had a business issue and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to figure this out. And I remember waking up the next morning for the gym and I thought about the issue again. And then all of a sudden I got excited. I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. That means I'm about to learn something new. That means I'm about to expand my capacity. I'm about to grow. Let's get it, God. I'm
Yeah.
down for the ride, right?
Yeah.
So when you can look at it like each challenge is just elevating you, you no longer look at them as doom and gloom. You're like, okay, what is this trying to teach me? How much more amazing am I going to get?
Yeah, yeah. We can see we can laugh at ourselves, and even the hard, heavy things can have some lightness, and we understand that it's all going to be okay because we're going to learn from this. There's going to be wisdom from this. We're going to grow, and you know, and it'll be worth it.
Absolutely.
And
It, value what's on the other side.
and you know, that's what my dad used to. I mean, that was his lifelong lesson for me that he tried to teach was like enjoy the ride. Like the ride is going to be scary, it's going to be hard, you know, but can you still enjoy it in those rough spots? And I was
Yes,
going through a really rough week this past week. And, you know, one thing that I recognize that seems universal, at least in my perspective, is when we have a really hard moment like that, one of the gifts is if I can't do it myself or I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, then a connection has to be forged. You know, I was getting hugs from my neighbors who I don't usually hug, right? Or
yeah,
so then there's like a new heart opening moment and a new capacity to connect because we're like we're at our wits end. We don't know what to do. So then, you know, oh, okay. This is gifting me with more connection. This is gifting me with more love. Um, so, you know, that's a beautiful way to see it too.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So What do you feel like has been, I love that you gave us that three-part, irritation, declaration, and it wasn't forgiveness. What
Surrender that.
surrendered action, yeah, which might forgiveness, it goes along with forgiveness. I think this surrendered action, yeah. Um,
Absolutely.
can you tell us a little more of a personal story where, can you flesh out a little bit um, that for you? I know you mentioned you had to forgive yourself around any hurt with your spouse, with your ex. And then will you just share? I know that you are, one of the things you mentioned was I'm going to get strong in my body. I'm going to, there's like some declarations on, okay, here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not willing to do this anymore. I'm going to not do this anymore. Like I'm making a clear line. Like
Yeah.
this is not acceptable anymore. I'm not going to do these things. And I have a vision of that because I know what it was that I'm putting to the side. Then when it's, I think a lot of myself included, a lot of folks that I talk to, it's like, I don't really know what I want. I haven't had that
Mm.
hug. I haven't had that dream. I haven't had that amazing partner, or that $1 million, or that whatever, like that people are dreaming
Hmm.
about. I can't even articulate because I haven't had it, what I want. So how did you get, I know that, I know enough about you to know that you're in a relationship, you're in a new marriage that is loving and brilliant and mutual, like a lot of respect and a lot of love. And you also are, dedicated to your health and working out and building strength in your body. Would you just like paint a little bit of a picture of like what that good is looking like now for you so people can just
Yeah.
like it can help folks in their visioning for their own lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So to get anything, we have to have a vision,
Yeah.
right? And like for me, I didn't know what I wanted, but I did know what I didn't want.
Uh-huh.
Right. And so I believe that you can start there. If you don't have a clear vision of where you want to go, you do know where you don't want to go. You do know where the discomfort was and the um, experiences that you don't want to repeat, right? The feelings that you want to avoid. You do know that, right? And so for me, I knew that what came first was not even about seeking love or seeking happiness or anything. It was like, how can I help me? How can I help me reduce the risk of cancer returning?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, what I call this center of the clock work, right? So, if you think about a clock, these are the numbers on the clock, and right in the center is the center of the clock,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so what I started to do was I started to focus on me and the work that I needed to do, right? Because that's not what I considered in my first marriage. Because I had been in such a toxic relationship with my son's father, the relationship prior to my first marriage, um, all I knew was what I didn't want. I never once considered the work that I needed to do to heal, the work that I needed to do to be a better spouse, mother, significant other, friend, daughter, any of that. I just knew what I no longer wanted, right? And so when I started looking at working on myself, it first started being about physical things, right? Like, okay, everything that I read said that I can reduce the chances of cancer returning exponentially by working out 3 to 5 hours a week, right? So I'm like, okay, let's get in the gym, let's get a workout routine.
Mm-hmm.
Then I read, that I needed to include more cancer fighting foods in my diet. So it's like, okay, I can do that. I didn't focus on I'm not going to have, I focused on what I was going to add,
Yeah.
right? Because that worked for me. Instead of telling myself I'm never going to have fried chicken again, I told myself I can have salads that have antioxidants in them, and I can do that every day before I have my fried chicken,
Right.
right?
You can have both. Right.
Right. But I also knew I learned moderation in all things, right? I learned that I couldn't just eat garbage all the time and expect to operate at my best. So I knew I needed to learn harmony. I don't like the word balance because it means you could fall off at any moment. I like harmony, like everything is working together for my highest good,
Yeah.
right? And so then I decided I became uninsurable, right? Meaning I couldn't get life insurance because I'm 35 when I'm first diagnosed. I'm not even thinking about life insurance, right?
Yeah.
But now I've had cancer twice and no insurance company will touch me. So I'm like, okay, if it comes back and I have to leave my kids, I want to leave them something other than just bills. So I got into real estate investing because I heard that you can make a lot of money that way, right? And um, Rachel Rogers is an author who wrote a book called We Should All Be Millionaires. And in that book, she said, and I think Jim Rohn said it also, we should all strive to be millionaires because of who you become in your process. So that started my process in personal development,
Mhm.
right? Starting to read books that changed my mindset, started to attend seminars that spoke life into me, which was something I had never had, right? I didn't grow up with somebody telling me I can be anything I want to be. Right? Like
Yeah.
I grew up in poverty, so my experiences were very limited. But this opened up again something cancer did for me. It opened a whole new world of possibilities for me, right? And so that was a very long answer, Jennifer, to say you never lose when you work on yourself,
Mhm.
ever.
Mhm.
Like you never lose. And if you do your center of the clock work, meaning you do the work to transform yourself to become the best version of you, it will affect everything else on the edge of your clock, right? So if you think about the numbers on the edge of the clock, the numbers represent anything in your life that you want to transform or change, whether that be your love life, whether that be your relationship with your kids, your relationship with your in your job, your spouse, your health, whatever it is you want to change, start with self.
Yeah. 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 Because that's the only thing we have power over is ourself. That's the only thing we
That
can.
part.
It's the only thing we can change, right?
That's it.
It's
And so often we spend too much time trying to control other people
yeah.
and situations when the only person you have control over is us, right? I can't change what's happening, but I can change how I respond to it. I can change or choose my next action, right? Mel Robbins, love her, her amazing book called Let Them. And she says, let them do whatever it is they're going to do, and then let me respond. And I like to add, and let me respond in a way that's going to protect my peace, give me back my power, and protect my health.
Yeah. And I think that's a really beautiful message in this time when we are so many folks are on social media and reacting in ways that are not protecting their peace, their power, and their health. And it's a that's a really powerful message for all of us to keep in mind. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And also remember that people are usually not doing things against us, they're doing things for them.
yeah,
So even the person that replies snidely to your Facebook post or your Facebook comment, that's not about putting you in your place. That's about making them feel better, right? Because
right.
especially in politics, when you when we challenge someone's beliefs, we're basically challenging their identity. Likely that's all they've ever known, right? Lifelong Republican, lifelong Democrat. So you're challenging their identity is how they receive it. And so they come out swinging,
Yeah.
right? I think that it's important to remember that social media aside, but even if you're having conversations with friends and loved ones, especially in these times when we're so divided, like instead of being focusing on each other and saying, I hate you because you're Republican, I hate you because you're a Democrat. Like, I don't hate you, I hate this problem. I hate this division in the country. I hate that everybody doesn't have health care. I hate that we're giving everything away for free. So now let's focus on the solution instead of attacking each other. How do we now, instead of playing tug of war, how do we unravel the knot in the middle, right? And we do that by being curious. Ask more questions than giving your opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and curiosity really can open the door to a new perspective and connection. It really is such a needed antidote to
Yeah, absolutely.
to violence, in every way. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Um, what do you feel like? Is there any message that you feel like you want to share that we haven't touched on, or anything that's on your heart that we want to make sure that we say?
I know it sounds really, really cliche,
Mm,
um, but you really do have to trust the process,
yeah,
right? Like growth, healing, it's a process. And it is so very uncomfortable in the messy middle, right? It seemed hard to be in the space that you were in, right? And then you make the decision to change something about your situation. That's where it really gets hard. I call it the messy middle,
yeah,
right? But again, I invite you to be so committed to what you want on the other side that going back isn't an option. Like I refuse to go back to the me who was really quick to temper. I refuse to go back to me who was inauthentic.
mhm,
I refuse to go back to me who didn't protect her health, right? Because I am so committed to the life that I have now.
yeah,
And I'm committed to making it even better.
yeah. Cheers to that. Cheers to that. Thank you, Dee. I just so appreciate your energy and your spirit and your resilience and your commitment um, to creating a better life with with so much with so much grace and so much authenticity. So thank you for being you. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for sharing your story. And yeah, where can we have people find you? Like for folks who are resonating and they want to connect with you, we can put links in our show notes.
Yes.
What,
I can. So what I will do is I will definitely send you the links to all of my social media platforms and my website. But for anyone listening on all of the social media platforms, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of them, my handle is the same, which is I am the Manuel Cloud. So it's DeeManuel and then cloud like the clouds in the sky.
I am.
I am the Manuel Cloud.
Fantastic, fantastic. So that way everyone can find you, and we'll put your website and other links in the show notes so people can connect with you after listening. And
Awesome. Sounds like a plan.
I send you so much appreciation. And I needed this chat today. So thank you.
Aw, thank you. I always love connecting with you, gorgeous. May we forever stay in touch, and anytime I can be there for you, I got your back.
Mm, thank you. Thank you for listening, and we'll say goodbye for now.
Bye for now.
From the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for being a listener to this podcast. We really want to stay in touch with you long term. So, if you don't already receive our e newsletter, we'd love to offer you inspiration, insights, and news about how things are evolving and how we can support you on your journey. At the top of the Walk Through Grief with Grace website, that's walkthroughgriefwithgrace.com, you'll see a yellow button and you can sign up for our free gift, and that will put you on our e-newsletter list, and we can stay in touch with you. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for listening. You are a vital part of this podcast. You are why we are here. Let us close today by placing a hand on our hearts and a hand on our bellies, feeling our breath move through our bodies. May we feel connected. May we be at peace. May we be love. As we breathe, let us acknowledge that in this moment we are, in fact, alive, and this is a miraculous gift. Let's bow our heads gently to our hearts. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for doing something healing and kind in this moment right now. We give great thanks. We give great thanks. We give great thanks. And it is done until next time. May you walk gently out in the world and be gentle and loving with yourself. Much love from my heart to yours, and bye for now.